My name is Albino. I'm the co-founder of Rise Tribe. I'm a sports marketer and sports communicator and a dot connector. I was born just down the street, St. Michael's Hospital, Toronto, Canada, after being raised here for about 3 years and moved to Mississauga. My parents decided to move to Canada, and I think I started to really feel that at a pretty young age. It was almost part of everyday conversation. Back home, we would do this, but now we can do this. They were really proud of being able to come here. They definitely felt that Canada was a place for more opportunity. This is a very similar narrative throughout the Filipino community is one person will come here, typically in the healthcare or a nanny role. That person would then sponsor the rest of his or her family. What I thought was really cool as a female, I appreciate, is that it typically was a woman that came across and then sponsored the rest of her family. That power behind that, being able to make such impactful change into a family is pretty special. Growing up in Canada, I was aware of things like marketing, public relations, being a photographer, so different streams, whereas cousins who had come from the Philippines might have only thought healthcare and being a nanny. I was aware of many other roles. They just didn't have the examples that I had. However, at a very young age, I knew I wanted to work in sports, but when I looked at people who worked in sport, everybody was a white male. There's nothing wrong with being a white male, it's just that I immediately discounted myself from ever thinking I could work in sport. There was nobody that looked like me, it just didn't seem possible. I started to really look at streams or more traditional roles for Filipinos like nursing. I would be a terrible nurse. I hate blood, I don't like touching strangers, like that doesn't seem like me at all. And I thought about switching over my career path because of my culture. Thankfully, I am now in a position where I stuck to my guns. My passion was in sport, my passion was in communications, and I ended up in the roles I have, which I'm super fortunate about, but I think that it's a similar story for many Filipino Canadian youth to want to do something and just not know how to because they don't see anybody around them who looks like them. My expectations have definitely changed from when I was younger because now I know it's possible. You know, it's possible to work in the NHL, to the Toronto Raptors, public relations, MLS. I know it's possible to work for Nike. So I know it's possible. My role now and something that I feel very, 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 very fortunate to have given the platform to speak on this is to create that connection to younger generations of Filipino youth. I'm not saying that I'm their role model, I'm saying that I'm an example of something that maybe they didn't think was possible. Being there for them and allowing them to connect with other people who perhaps are in roles that they didn't think were possible as Filipinos is something that I'm very passionate about now, as you can probably tell. Before it wasn't even fathomable. Now I can be like, it's 100% possible. I think the most challenging thing I've had to face this far in my career is really just self-doubt and not believing in myself. And I hate to harp on this, but I legitimately did not see myself in this role. Every single time I got a promotion or something was like, you did a really good job, I almost didn't accept it because I felt like someone was gonna take it away. It was such a special moment and so surreal for me that I was scared it was gonna go away because I was like, what am I doing here? Do I even belong here? And it took me a really long time to discover and also to be confident that I did belong where I was. And I did belong in that boardroom with Masai Ujiri or whoever it was from any of our teams. I belonged there, and not only did I belong, but I had a platform to speak and I deserved to speak. So that was something that was a difficult thing for me to get my head around because it seemed so bizarre from 12-year-old Abby who was like, you'll never make it to the NBA. That's a crazy thing. Maybe the WNBA, but definitely not the NBA. I don't know, there were moments where it was hard for me to swallow the fact that I got to do this cool shit every day. I got paid to talk about sports and music, which is wild. I would have done that for free. The best part about working for MLSE was probably knowing that what I worked on truly had impact in people's lives. How passionate people are about their sports teams is incredible, and I feel that because I'm a huge Raptors person too. We the North, for example, working on that campaign was really cool. People around the world took notice to something that a Toronto team did. I mean, there's a lot of bold decisions that I'm very proud of in my career. It took me a while to be proud of these things because this is a very inherent thing about Filipinos in general, is that we were born humble. Every single time I felt proud of something, I would be like, oh, you're not supposed to feel proud. You're supposed to be humble. You're supposed to be in the back, be that person behind the scenes. There's a few bold decisions in my career that I'm pretty proud of, and a lot of it has to do with being a person of color. Oftentimes I would be asked my opinion on something, and as a person of color, my experiences are very different. Initially, I would kind of keep quiet, and then slowly I would start speaking up and speaking up. When I would say something about what my opinion was, I would notice it was very different than everybody else's. But then I started to realize that that difference of opinion was making our marketing campaigns better. It was making our PR messaging better, because when you think about a team like the Raptors, their fan base is predominantly people of color. Of those people of color, so many of them are women. So I represented such a specific demographic of fan that somebody that I was working with, a colleague who perhaps grew up in in just Toronto to a white family didn't have those experiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we were able to really come together and collaborate on something that made sense for a larger fan base and more people. Being bold was just speaking up and making sure that my voice was heard. Outside of my career, a bold decision was deciding to start Rise Tribe with some really incredible people who are very like-minded. Deciding to try to shift culture in a space as diverse and wonderful as Toronto is daunting, I think, at first, but once you decide that you're going to do it, you just kind of have to roll with it. And it's been 3 years and we've made some really cool advancements. We started really small on a Filipino heritage game with Raptors 905, the development league team. And this past season, the Toronto Raptors actually reached out so that we could do a Filipino heritage game. It's the first time they've done it in almost 10 seasons. They brought it back and they wanted to partner with Rise because they knew that we had such good insights into the Filipino community. Obviously, Filipinos love basketball, so it made a perfect marriage. But that was really special. I'm very lucky to work with brands who understand what I do and what I'm passionate about. So I'm super proud of everything I've done in my sports PR career. I think Rise is definitely going to be that one at the end of the day that I'm like, that's the one. Rise Tribe is a non-for-profit that powers the next generation of Filipino youth through mentorship, networking, and leadership. Being a child of an immigrant, being risky was not a thing they wanted to hear. They didn't want to know that you were trying to do something that you might not make money in. Stable income was like their jam. I got my Bachelor of Commerce at Ryerson. Once I was done that, I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with it. It seemed like the most risk-avert thing to do. I majored in human resources because it seemed like the most Filipino business thing to go to because it was about caretaking, about people, except I hated it. I got out of school and I realized that HR was not a thing I wanted to do. Worked in restaurants a lot while I was finished because it was a recession. So the recession, nobody was getting jobs. Made a ton of money bartending, which is great. And thankfully, some of my regulars worked at Subaru. Subaru PR team would come in every Wednesday. I talk about my career path being very destiny, very serendipitous. There was a day I wasn't working and I walked into the keg in full snowbird outfit. Subaru guys were walking out at the same time and they're like, holy shit, Abby? And I'm like, yep. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were a snowboarder. We actually need an Asian girl to be a Subaru girl. Can you be that girl? She needs to be into sports. She needs to be kind of outdoorsy. And I was like, yeah, I'm your girl. I thought it was just like a brand ambassador, make some money, and then like I'd be done with it. Except I went and I did that job for them for the week. I ended up meeting Subaru's PR agency. Their account director at the time was like, listen, I think you'd be great at PR. I honestly thought PR was just planning parties and it didn't seem like a stream I wanted to get into, and he was like, no, like listen, like it's more than that. It's storytelling, it's content, it's being part of a brand strategy. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm into that. Cool, it sounds awesome. He's like, go to this school, trust me, like it is the best school in Canada. At the time it was Humber PR. So I did postgraduate degree in PR at Humber, and within a year of randomly meeting those Subaru guys, I was in school for public relations, and a year after that I was a PR assistant at MLSE. It all came together very quickly. When I first got into PR, I was like, no chance I'm getting my dream job right away. Working for the Raptors in public relations, no chance. And then that happened. And as soon as I had it, I was like, I'm sticking to this and I'm not letting it go, and I'm gonna be like the best PR person this people have ever seen. I think I did, I don't know. The quote, I didn't come this far to only come this far, is something that I say a lot, but I use it from a lens of my parents. When I look at my career, I tell myself, they didn't come this far for me to come this far. They didn't sacrifice everything for me just to become a PR manager at MLSE. It's great, it's amazing, it's way higher than I ever thought I was gonna do. But now that I'm here or was there, I know that there's more, and I know that I can do more with it. I didn't come this far to only come this far for my parents. My message to the younger generation of new Canadians, be proud of where you came from and be proud of your culture. I think for a very long time, not that I wasn't proud to be Filipino, but I didn't identify with being Filipino because I was born here, and there was almost a stigmatism around people who just came from the Philippines versus the Filipinos that were born here. We're all the same, we all come from the same roots, the same values and morals, and it's not that I wasn't proud, but I don't think I like really celebrated it as much as I do. And now that I'm celebrating being Filipino Canadian and seeing everybody else kind of be like, whoa, like look at all these other incredible Filipino Canadians that are doing things in the city, I think it's special. Be more yourself. People need to know that like whatever experiences that you can take from wherever you're from, wherever your parents are from, that's all very valuable information for somebody. Your culture is part of who you are. The more you try to suppress that, the less you are. My name is Albino, and I didn't come this far to only come this far.